Chapter 1. The Call of Curiosity. The sun hung low, casting long shadows across the town's edge, where Alex, Maya, and Leo sat in their familiar circle. Golden light spilled onto the grass, stretching toward the edge of the whispering woods. The woods themselves seemed to murmur secrets, a fitting backdrop to the evening's conversation. "I'm telling you, it was weird," Alex said, shaking his head as he reclined back on his elbows. His voice carried a mix of excitement and disbelief. "I overheard two people talking, near the edge of the woods. They weren't from around here, I'm sure of it." Maya leaned forward, eyes bright with curiosity. "What did they say, Alex?" Leo, ever the skeptic, crossed his arms. "Probably just out-of-towners trying to look for a camping spot. Everyone knows those woods are full of nothing but old trees and shadows." Alex sat up abruptly, shaking his head. "No, it was more than that. They were talking about something hidden in the woods, something they didn't want anyone else finding." "Maybe hidden treasure," Maya suggested, weaving a narrative that danced through the possibilities in her mind. "Or a secret base." Leo smirked, half convinced, but intrigued enough to ask, "And how do you plan on uncovering this grand mystery?" With a grin, Alex spread out a crudely sketched map between them, its lines etched with care. "I've been plotting a way in," he admitted. "We can find out what's really going on." Maya clapped her hands together, already dreaming of adventures and tales they'd recount. "Our summer just got a whole lot more interesting," she said, voice bubbling with enthusiasm. A flicker of impatience crossed Leo's face, but he concealed it with a practical question. "What's the plan then, oh fearless leader?" "Simple," Alex replied, his voice steady and resolved. "We sneak into the woods tomorrow morning, early enough to avoid any nosy neighbors." Maya, nodding eagerly, added, "We'll uncover what's really behind those whispers." "And what if there's nothing there?" Leo challenged, raising an eyebrow. Alex met his gaze, unwavering. "Then we'll know for sure. But aren't you curious? Isn't that worth something?" Leo hesitated, but the electrifying promise of adventure was infectious. "All right," he conceded, a playful glint in his eyes. "Let's see what we find." They rose as the last light of day kissed the horizon, each filled with anticipation for what awaited them. As they parted ways with the woods silently witnessing their newfound resolve, Maya lingered for a moment longer. "Remember," Alex called back to his friends, "meet at the old oak. Tomorrow, at dawn." Maya smiled to herself, imagining the whispers transforming from mere sounds to voices guiding them. "The call of curiosity," she murmured to the breeze, as if sealing a pact with the forest. With the promise of adventure kindling their imaginations, they departed with the stars, leaving behind a whisper of their own, a shared anticipation of secrets to be unveiled beneath the boughs of the whispering woods. Chapter 2. Secrets of the Shelves. The morning sun filtered through tall windows as Alex, Maya, and Leo made their way to the old library. The air was filled with the scent of aged paper and the soft echoes of whispered conversations. Within the library's old stone structure, countless volumes awaited, surrounding the trio with mysteries and knowledge. Mrs. Thompson, the librarian, stood behind the grand wooden desk, her sharp eyes peeking over the edge of her bifocals. "Ah, our usual adventurers," she greeted them with a knowing smile, her voice as crisp as the pages of the books she cherished. "What brings you to these dusty aisles?" "Hello, Mrs. Thompson," Maya began, her excitement barely contained. "We're on a quest. We want to learn about the woods and why they're whispered about." Mrs. Thompson raised an eyebrow, her expression a curious blend of suspicion and amusement. "Ah, the whispering woods have called you, eh? It's not the first time they've tugged on young hearts." Alex leaned forward, determination evident in his eyes. "Is there anything you could tell us? Anything at all that could help?" The librarian gestured toward a secluded corner, a cluttered haven lined with more books than space. "Come, let's have some tea while you tell me what you seek." As they tucked into the cozy nook, surrounded by the soft rustle of pages, Mrs. Thompson poured steaming cups of tea. Her movements were meticulous, each gesture deliberate. "What are these woods to you, children?" Mrs. Thompson asked as she set down her teacup, curiosity lighting her gaze. "They're more than just trees," Maya replied thoughtfully. "I think they hide stories waiting to be told." Leo, although usually reticent, spoke up. "There's something about them. I can't quite put it into words, but it's like they hold secrets." Mrs. Thompson nodded, sipping her tea. They've always whispered to those who choose to listen. The trick is seeing beyond the surface. She paused, allowing the weight of her words to settle over them. What about specifics? Alex pressed, always the rational one, drawing closer to the desk. Is there a history or a story we could find among these shelves? Mrs. Thompson chuckled softly, a twinkle in her eyes. Always the pragmatist, Alex, but not all secrets are written down. Some are best found in experience. Maya's eyes shone with inspiration. Look beyond the written, she murmured, repeating the librarian's earlier words, possibilities sparking her imagination anew. Yes, Mrs. Thompson affirmed. Keep those minds open, and perhaps you'll find what you're meant to. Their conversation flowed between the tantalizing insights and the simple joy of discovery, interweaving threads of mystery and familiarity. The friends could sense they were on the brink of something more profound, but just out of reach. Alex finally sighed, glancing at his friends. It's a lot to process. We need to decide on our next steps. Adventure first, questions later, Leo suggested, half joking amidst the serious turn their morning had taken. Maya smiled, sensing the tug of the woods stronger than ever. Let's start by exploring, both the books and the woods. Balance logic and imagination. Mrs. Thompson set down her empty cup with a soft thud, looking pleased. Remember, exploration requires openness. Find the stories, the echoes from the past, and they'll guide you forward. As the friends left the library, their heads buzzing with newfound possibilities, Mrs. Thompson watched them go. Her words lingered in their thoughts, sharpening their sense of urgency. Leo looked at Maya and Alex, voice firm yet excited. The woods are whispering again. What if history is about to change? Alex nodded, resolving to step deeper into the forest's intrigue. We begin with both feet on the ground, but dreams still in our hearts. Maya's agreement was silent but fierce, knowing that the whispers were growing clearer, guiding them towards something yet unseen. Chapter 3. Whispers at the wood's entrance. The ancient oaks stood like sentinels at the boundary of the whispering woods, their branches swaying gently under the rising sun. Alex, Maya, and Leo gathered, their conversation bubbling with anticipation and unmistakable tension. "All right, who wants to turn back?" Alex asked, his tone laced with sarcasm, yet betraying a hint of nervousness. "No way," Maya replied with a grin, adjusting her backpack. "The whispers pulled us here, didn't they? We can't ignore a dare from the universe." Leo chuckled, though his smile was tight. "Unless it's a trap set by the universe." Alex raised an eyebrow. "That's why we come prepared. We'll follow the map's safest path and stick together." The unyielding gaze of the woods seemed to challenge them, and Leo, feeling the itch of impatience, countered. "Or we could take a shortcut. If the woods really are speaking, maybe there's a reason we're meant to discover the hard way." Maya stepped between her friends, her eyes flashing with the wisdom she often cloaked in whimsy. "Okay, let's hash this out. Alex, your careful plans got us here, but Leo's right about trusting our instincts sometimes." Alex sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I just don't want us to get lost, or worse." "Caution is good," Maya acknowledged, meeting both their gazes, "but adventure is never without risk." Alex looked at the towering trees, contemplating the gravity of their choice. "Maybe we split the difference," he suggested slowly. "We'll explore cautiously, but if we sense a new path, one that feels right, we follow it." "Agreed," Maya said, her voice a mix of encouragement and certainty. "And remember, every whisper we hear brings us a step closer." Leo nodded, the tension in his posture easing. "All right, off we go then. Legends and whispers wait for no one." They stepped forward together, the woods echoing with an ethereal melody that seemed to correspond with their collective heartbeat. As they delved deeper, conversations wove between them, like threads, pulling a tapestry of shared purpose and trust. "Do you ever wonder," Maya mused, her eyes scanning the shaded canopy, "what Mrs. Thompson meant about seeing beyond the surface?" "I think she meant to keep our minds open to every possibility," Alex replied, his steps guided more by the pull of curiosity than fear now. "As long as we don't stumble over too many roots," Leo quipped, sidestepping a particularly gnarled one. "Part of the journey, my friend," Maya chimed, laughter dancing in her voice. "Every obstacle has its story." They continued forward, with each step deepening their resolve and their friendship. The ambient whisper of the woods grew softer yet more distinct, filled with promise and a hint of mystery. Just as anticipation melded into a tranquil rhythm, Leo halted, an intense look shadowing his face. "Did you hear that?" Alex and Maya paused, their ears straining to decipher the tapestry of natural sounds. Then it came, a clear, human sound amidst nature's symphony. Laughter, faint but undeniable, floated from deeper within the woods. "Someone else is here," Maya breathed, excitement and concern twisting together. "It's not just us," the woods called, Alex remarked quietly, intrigue kindling in his eyes. "Then it means we're on the right track," Leo declared, his earlier tension replaced with determined eagerness. "Let's find out who shares our path." Their hearts swelled with determination. The way forward seemed less like a choice and more like an inevitable discovery. As they ventured deeper into the whispering woods, the trees shivered gently in their passage, framing their adventure in an embrace of timeless secrets and shadowy allure. "Ready?" Alex asked, glancing back at Maya and Leo. "Ready as we'll ever be," Maya confirmed, her hand clasping the map as if it contained whispers only she could hear. Leo grinned, his footsteps falling in line beside Alex's. "Then let's give the universe something to whisper about." And with that shared resolve, they plunged into the heart of the woods, their future growing clearer with each hushed exchange of words beneath the whispering canopy. Chapter 4. The Clearing of Clarity. The dappled sunlight filtered through the overhead canopy, creating a mosaic of light and shadow on the forest floor as Alex, Maya, and Leo ventured deeper into the whispering woods. Each step was filled with anticipation, each whisper from the trees a gentle push forward, until they unexpectedly stumbled upon a hidden clearing, a place where the wood's murmurs quieted to an expectant silence. This wasn't on the map," Alex murmured, taking in the serene beauty of the place, its tranquility, a stark contrast to the winding path that led them there. Maya's eyes widened in awe. "It's like it's been waiting for us," she whispered, her voice soft amid the natural splendor. "I can almost feel its stories." Leo, drawn into contemplation by the surroundings, nodded. "It's as if the forest knew we needed to be here." The clearing seemed alive, yet peaceful, its atmosphere inviting introspection. Drawn by the serenity, the trio settled on a patch of soft grass, the world's echoes fading into the background. "Do you ever think about why we're drawn to mysteries like this?" Maya asked, her gaze drifting to the gently swaying leaves above. Alex, always thoughtful, replied, "Maybe it's the need to find answers. Or maybe it's because we're storytellers at heart." Leo leaned back on his hands, a rare moment of vulnerability passing through his expression. "Do you think the stories we find will change us?" Maya smiled, a dreamy look brightening her features. "I think they already have. Every step we take feels like we're becoming part of something bigger." Their dialogue flowed, easy and uninhibited, each word strengthening the bond that united them. It was a turning point, a signpost mid-journey where introspection blossomed into clarity. "Whatever we find here," Alex mused, "it's how we handle it that will shape us." The conversation veered into personal stories, snippets of past adventures, fears and dreams shared beneath an ever-watchful sky. Their spirited exchange lent itself naturally to theorizing about the wood's secrets. "Maybe the woods are a memory," Maya pondered aloud, eyes sparkling with a creative gleam. "A place where stories of the past live through whispers." Or, Leo added thoughtfully, "they're a reminder, safeguarding something important from the world." Intrigued by their imaginative discourse, Alex couldn't help but join the speculation. Perhaps both. A hidden truth waiting for the right moment, the right people to unveil it. Maya, inspired by their theories, sat straighter, enthusiasm infusing her voice. "So let's find it. Let's piece together this puzzle. The clearings brought us clarity. Now, how do we use it?" Their lively conversation dovetailed into crafting a plan, combining Alex's logical approach with Maya's boundless creativity and Leo's unyielding courage. The clarity cradled within the clearing served to unite their insights, forming a cohesive strategy. "I always thought logic alone would unravel the woods," Alex confessed, reflecting on the day's dialogues. "But now I realize the heart and spirit of mystery need to be embraced too." Maya nodded, vibrant energy in her voice. "It's the whispering woods' gift to us, the understanding of our strength as a team." As they prepared to leave the clearing, the sun dipped lower, casting a gentle glow across their path. The forest whispered again, this time a harmonious echo of their newfound resolve and enlightenment. "Let's hold on to this moment," Leo said as they stood at the edge of the clearing, his voice low but certain. "We'll need it as we go further." Alex smiled, gratitude shimmering in his tone. "We're closer now because we've learned to listen. Truly listen, not just to whispers, but to each other." "Ready to see what lies beyond the whispering woods?" Maya asked, her hand reaching toward the path they'd yet to tread. The clearing faded into shadows as they continued, each step taken not just as individuals, but as a united whole, bound by mutual respect, trust, and the stories only they could tell. And the woods watched them go, their whispers bereft of mystery, yet full of promise, a tale begun long ago, now moving toward completion. Chapter 5, Reflections by the Riverside. The sun had climbed higher, casting a warm glow over the woods, as Alex, Maya, and Leo found themselves standing before a gentle brook, its waters flowing with a rhythmic murmur. Gathering by the riverside, they each dropped to a sit on the moss-covered banks, the tinkling sound of the stream providing a soothing counterpoint to the fervor of their minds. "Mrs. Thompson's words keep rattling around in my head," Maya started, brushing her fingers through the clear, cool water. "Look beyond the written. What do you think she really meant?" Alex wrinkled his brow in thought. "I think she meant we should look beyond just the facts, see the bigger picture. The whispers aren't just noise, they're part of the story too." "I don't know how, but they are," Leo conceded, pitching stones across the surface, watching them skip. The repetitive motion seemed to mirror the flow of ideas in his mind. "Everyone talks like the woods are alive, like they've got some sort of ancient consciousness or something." Maya leaned back, supporting herself with her palms against the soft earth. "It's almost as if the trees themselves are trying to tell us something." Presently, Alex's eyes brightened as if he'd just seized upon a thought. "Think about Mrs. Thompson's other hint, how every perception can be more than it seems. Maybe there's something out here, something connecting stories across town with what we've discovered. That's why the woods have been whispering," Maya said, picking up on the thread of Alex's thought. "It's all connected, stories passed down through whispers." Leo nodded, serious now, an air of determination in his gaze. "And it could be something important to us, to everyone. After all, if those strangers Alex overheard really are looking for something, maybe it's the same thing the woods are protecting." The conversation ebbed and flowed like the river, their reflections revealing realizations that had been hovering just out of sight. Just like the water reflecting their faces, each idea they shared mirrored deeper understanding. "Say the woods are guarding an artifact," Alex suggested thoughtfully, glancing at his friends. "Wouldn't that make the whispers a sign, guiding us to preserve or protect it?" Preserve. Protect. It could be a message, Maya mused, the familiar spark of imaginative reasoning lighting her eyes. Something needing our care. Or perhaps it's a truth worth defending. "There's one way to find out," Leo declared, rising with a resolute expression. "We listen carefully, follow the whisper's trail to the source." As they strategized, their dialogues danced gently between the practical and the fantastical, spirits warmed by the promise of shared endeavor. Their individual skills blended effortlessly into a comprehensive plan. "All right," Alex said at length. "We'll work out our approach, make sure we're methodical, but open to inspiration as well. We've got logic, creativity, and courage on our side." Maya gave a bright grin, her heart buoyed by their camaraderie. "The stars didn't bring us together for nothing. We're bound by the whispers." "The woods chose the right champions," Leo noted, a glint of adventure in his tone. "We're ready for whatever's up ahead." Their conversation faded into moments of contented silence, the sound of the brook singing softly beside them. Each understood that the wood's melodies were interwoven with their journey, and they felt enriched by having listened. "Well then," Alex concluded, his voice sure and steady, "let's uncover what the whispers truly hold." "Let's," Maya agreed, a promise in her words as she linked arms with her friends. They rose together, the river's path leading them onward with renewed determination. They were set to discover, to learn, and perhaps to become the guardians of whatever the woods had deemed sacred enough to whisper to. And as they stepped forward, the reflection of their quest shone bright in each other's eyes, igniting a shared resolve that they would carry through the whispering woods and into the echoes of everything yet to come. Chapter 6: Confrontation and Communion. The trio's footsteps were soft against the forest floor, the whispering woods enveloping them in its mysterious embrace. Alex led the way, his heart a steady drumbeat of anticipation. Maya, beside him, was a bundle of creative energy, while Leo's stride was confident, fueled by the thrill of what lay ahead. "Are you sure this is the right direction?" Leo asked, his voice carrying the weight of both skepticism and trust. Alex nodded, consulting the map in his hands. "If the whispers are guiding us, then yes, everything points to this spot, deeper within. It feels like the woods are breathing with us," Maya mused, her voice quiet yet vibrant. Just then, Maya halted, gesturing silently for her friends to stop. Ahead, faint voices carried through the trees, a conversation punctuated by urgency. The mysterious figures from Alex's initial encounter were near. Leo's eyes met Alex's, a silent agreement forming between them. They exchanged nods, ready to face whatever truth lay ahead. Creeping forward, the trio peeked past a thicket of ferns and caught sight of the figures, two individuals silhouetted by the deeper shadows. Their conversation was fervent, intense. "We can't let anyone else interfere," one man said, his voice sharp with resolve. The other nodded vigorously, a woman with an air of authority about her. "You're right. The artifact's power is too dangerous in the wrong hands." Maya leaned closer to whisper, "Do you think they mean us?" Alex shook his head, keeping his voice low. "I don't think they know we're here. Let's introduce ourselves." Leo's grin was quick and fearless. Time to unravel this mystery. Stepping boldly out of their hiding spot, Alex spoke up. "Excuse us, but we'd like to know what's so important about this artifact." The strangers stiffened, their eyes narrowing as they searched for the source of the intrusion. When they spotted Alex, Maya, and Leo, a blend of surprise and caution played across their features. "Who are you?" the woman demanded, eyes darting between the trio. "We're the ones the whispers brought here," Maya replied, her voice filled with an uncharacteristic authority that seemed to command the very air. The man frowned, crossing his arms. "And what do you think you know?" Alex stepped forward. "Enough to understand that the woods are speaking to us for a reason. We want to help, not hinder." The woman studied them, her expression softening slightly. "So you've heard the whispers too?" "Yes," Leo affirmed, meeting the woman's gaze directly, "and we think they led us here." There was a brief pause, as the forest seemed to hold its breath. The woman exchanged a look with her companion before nodding slightly. "Very well. If the woods have chosen you as allies, then you must understand what's at stake." She gestured to a nearby stump, where the sun's rays pierced the canopy, creating a spotlight over a small, ancient stone nestled in its hollow. "The artifact." "It's not just an artifact," she continued. "It's a keeper of balance for the forest, a guardian of its secrets." Maya's eyes widened in wonder. "Like a key to the whispers?" "Exactly," the man said, his earlier suspicion replaced with a cautious respect. "And without the right protection, it could tip the balance." Alex, always the practical one, asked, "So why were you trying to keep it a secret?" "It's not just who has it that matters, but how they understand it," the woman replied. "Our role is to protect it from those who would misuse its power." "And why us?" Leo pressed, curiosity lacing his words. "Because the woods chose you," the man replied, conviction in his tone. "The whispers never lie." The conversation that followed was filled with explanations, revelations, and a deepening of trust. The strangers were part of an ancient order charged with safeguarding the artifact, and the trio of friends had unwittingly been guided by the forest to assist them. "So, we're allies now?" Maya asked, a hopeful tilt to her smile. "Yes," the woman replied, a hint of gratitude in her eyes. "Together, we can ensure the artifact's safety." With the afternoon sun dipping towards the horizon, the small clearing became a symbol of newfound alliance, a communion between protectors, both old and new. The conversation shaped a promise, a bond woven through dialogue and shared purpose. "Thank you for trusting us," Alex said sincerely, his heart steady with resolve. "Thank you for listening," the man responded, offering a nod of respect. As they prepared to leave, Maya, Alex, and Leo stood by the entrance of the woods, their hearts full of the whispers' harmonies. "Do you think we'll hear them again?" Leo asked, casting a backward glance at the forest, now shadowed in twilight. Maya linked her arm with his, her voice warm with certainty. As long as secrets live and stories find listeners, the whispers will go on. And as the trio walked back towards the town's edge, they carried the whispers with them, an eternal melody, guiding them into yet more adventures, carrying promises untold in the heart of the whispering woods.